Worthing Pier today. Not just Worthing Pier, go to a couple of other venues today. Very clear out there, isn't it? Start of a flooding tide. But nobody here fishing. I don't know if that's a bad sign. We're about midway up on the pier. Voice memos. In the line there, see, takes the line, and that's with braid on there as well. So again, we've got a nice breaker coming in, drops the top of the rod tip. Now in between the sets of waves there's little taps there, look. But that could also be when the runners come past. I remember that from last time. So let's just keep an eye on that. There is a difference between the swell in the water and the waves and then those little taps. So you see them there? So that is a small fish. Tapping away. You see, I say it's a small fish, but sometimes you do get tiny little taps and then a big fish. I've had that with conger, I've had it with bass. Never had those little taps and then get a smoothound. That's all or nothing, but sometimes a bass will do that. We're more likely to see a dab or a flounder. We'll just keep an eye on that tip. It's a nice angle on the pier, you know, it's coming down. There you go, is that it? We'll let that develop, as they say, which means it just means leave it on a bit longer. Right, so we're in between the waves now. You see it's shaking, like the tip's shaking a bit. And we also got to bear in mind we do have a big bait on there, so that could easily be fish that hasn't hooked itself. So what I really want is something a little bit stronger than that. After all that, there were some people fishing there. Look. So they're fishing over the other side. Always a good sign that, you know, I think they're the locals that we saw last time on our trip here. So we'll keep an eye on them, see how they're doing, get any clues. So it's typically not a good time of the year generally for sea fishing. We do have the dabs here that I talk about at length that have brighten up these winter days, but it's a bit early for the smoothound. It's a little bit early for those thornback ray and other types of ray that they get here, so you never know, So all I'm doing with this is a 2-hook flapper rig. I'm just going to cast this from a different spot over the far end. This over the end. There's a little bit of run of water. As I say, you can use the first video we did as a reference. That's what I've been doing, just for what it looks like at low tide. So, tightening the spool up, walking down the pier, making sure I don't hook anyone. And then I'm just going to walk down the end, plonk it off the corner, heading to the west. Lovely pier this, isn't it? Look. It's just so well managed, really. I mean, there's a toilet on the end there, and they don't seem to mind you going in via the restaurant. and we've got a good little surf running. You're going to see when we come around the corner. And I'll put this 2 hook flapper out into that surf. Small bass, maybe a place. And once I've done this, we will have a little look as well at whether they've done the boards down the bottom here. So we've got an incoming tide. If you're new to sea angling, an incoming tide is, the tide is working its way up the beach. It's flooding. Good idea, isn't it? I've just seen IFCA enforcement agents on the pier. Minimum size bylaws, worth a read. And then it's quite good they're engaging with the public, isn't it? Because we don't often see them. Also giving away these stickers we showed on the channel before, with the minimum size limits on them. Always quite interesting to have a look. I think they re-looked at these in 2021. There's actually some here I wasn't aware of. You see pollock is 30 centimetres, seems quite low, but as I've often said, mackerel 20, so no keeping those joeys, worth remembering. And to be honest, any fish now, anything would be good. I'm starting to lose the will to keep going. And what do? Do you dig in? Yeah, none of my friends have caught anything here. I've changed that Eastbourne rig to have a single 4-0 hook, and then put some bluey and squid on there. Still got a lug on the top hook. I don't like circle hooks really. They were twisting up a bit. Right, let's get this out. Keep going. Oh, it's not good. Everyone's struggling today. Can come out of lots of excuses, but you've got to dig in, haven't you, and try and catch. That's fishing, isn't it? We're not doing all our fishing on the pier in this episode. We're going to be heading along the coast as well, and I will be showing you some of the marks in between Worthing all the way up to Hastings, and some potential fishing spots you might want to look at using Google Earth. It's a good way of finding the marks, but that's just coming up. I really do enjoy fishing a new venue. It's a different challenge, isn't it, when you go somewhere new? And actually that brings me on nicely to today's sponsors, which is Readly. Because I've been using Readly, which is an online magazine subscription. Now they have an app, and on that app is over 8,000 different magazines. So it doesn't matter what you're into. You could be into boating, your air rifle, hunting, shooting, fishing, of course. Cars, I've been looking at different car magazines on there. All those magazines are on the app, so you can look at that on the iPad or a mobile phone. So whatever your hobby, there is a magazine of interest for you on Readly, and it's really good for research. So I've put in there Chesil Beach, and it's gone through lots of back issues of sea fishing magazines, of course, but also things like Coast magazine. So you can use it as a search tool for whatever you're into, whatever your interests are on there, and you can pinch and zoom. So you make it bigger, and it's really easy to read. You can look at the pictures, you can save things for later, have favourites on there, mark them off. I really like the convenience as well. Everything is there on that phone. I hope you'll give Readly a try, because they are giving away 2 months free using the link below. Just click on that link, or you can use a QR code that we've got displaying on the screen. And you can cancel these at any time, and then have a look at all the different magazines, read through the articles. It really does work. So I hope you choose Readly. I've been using it. I've been really enjoying it. And thank you, Readly, for sponsoring this episode. It's been in half an hour or so, 20 minutes maybe. A bit of tide running here. Quite shallow the water. There's nothing on here, by the way, if you're waiting. Coming back. Oh, bought extra worms, but these are coming back pretty clean. Tend to replace them anyway, maybe leave a bit on. Just going to drop this one short. If it is something, it's small. I don't know if we've got anything here. God, this is not great fishing. Oh, well, it's getting quite frustrating. We've not had a touch for an hour and a half. Coming up to high tide. I'm just going to plonk this just at the end there where that water is moving round about there. So, let's just have a little look at this one. Just really want to check it's holding bottom. I don't know what the tide's like here. It can look nice and easy from one point. Yeah, it's pretty solid, but there's nothing touching that yet. I'm going to pull out the grips. Nothing on there. I've got the grip leads off. Still hold bottom all right, I think. Really mild. Some amazing surf out there, actually. It's actually quite mild today, at 9 degrees, 10 degrees. Positively balmy for January. So in autumn and summer, worth dropping a bait down there for the bass. Might even be worth it today. I'll have a look at that. I like the way the surf's just coming in there. Look at that. That should bring in some fish, shouldn't it? It's quite strange, you know, when you're new to a venue. I feel a little bit out of place. You know, I'm so used to fishing Eastbourne, Hastings beaches, and of course the lure fishing, that you sort of have to go back to a little bit of basics when you don't know the venue very well. But we're digging in, and remember, last time we were here, we blanked. So there you go. Right, let's have a look at the. You can probably see there is a lower platform, but it's still closed off. And we work our way back round. So what I'm going to have to do here is keep an eye on 2 rods at 2 different locations. I just wanted to give myself the best chance. Plus, I'd just seen the fellows casting out to the west side of the pier, and they know what they're doing. Whereas I'm not so sure, for me anyway. Well, you can see I didn't look too pleased that the only fish we caught 3.5 hours was this little whiting. As I walk off the pier, I did have the feeling that these crows were laughing at me. Right, well, it's farewell to Worthing Pier. I vowed to come back again during better times. But let's take a little trip now, all the way from Worthing to Hastings. Just wanted to point out some marks and some well-known areas and areas to explore along the coast from Worthing to Hastings. So we're going to move away from Worthing Pier, and I'm going to head back home. But I thought I'd try something a little bit different. I'm just going to use, this is Google Earth Pro. It's well worth downloading actually if you are into coastal life or want to explore any sea fishing marks with potential. It's really good to have a play around with. So yeah, we're just going to continue our trip eastwards all the way to Hastings. I just wanted to point out a few places along the way. You might see some areas you recognise. So we're heading past Worthing now towards Showdown port. This is a place where they do catch some congers. Access is an issue here. On the end there you got Showdown Arm, and you've still got loads and loads of beaches on that side as well. Some of these are never ever fished. So yeah, Showdown, Lancing and Showdown there. We're leaving behind miles of beaches here I know nothing about till we get to Brighton. There's the old pier, there's Brighton Pier. Again, these beaches can be quite good for place in good conditions. Brighton Marina there, you've got the west arm, and then that big long east arm. So leaving the marina behind, you have got some fantastic bass ground here. There is a bit of a danger of being cut off by the tide as we go past Rottingdean Beach and all the way towards Peacehaven Cliffs as well. And that really is miles and miles of really good bass territory, which I don't know much about. I've often wondered though, as I've gone past, you can see why that might work for bass. Hang on, what's that? Look at that sticking out there. And this is the real joy of things like Google Earth. You spot things like that and straight away you're thinking, well, I wonder if the bass will run along there in the summer and autumn. Obviously you've got cliffs, dangers of cliff falls and getting down as well. So we're heading to Saltwater Beach, I think this is now. You can see just how that works as a low tide mark as well. Look, miles and miles and miles broken ground, shallow reefs, perfect for bass. That goes through Saltwater then. So we've gone Rottingdean, Saltwater, through past Peacehaven, and then we're just going to come in towards New Haven in a minute. You can see in the distance there the big arm at New Haven. I love things like this. You might just have to indulge me, but it is good if you do download it. You can see how that beach has built up there to the west of the arm at New Haven. You can't fish the big arm there to the west. I think you can just about get on the east and then inside towards Tide Mills, I think that's called. And then we're looking at Seaford Beach. Beautiful beach, Seaford. Really nice summer venue, mackerel, and again, place. You just see the headland there, which is Seaford Head. Nice easy parking Seaford as well, long flat run all the way up to Seaford Head. Yeah, there's a couple of videos of that actually on the channel. And then just move this around a little bit. It's sort of got the latest version of Google Earth Pro's got like an AI enhancement, but you get the idea. This is pretty inaccessible around here. You wouldn't want to walk around here, you get cut off by the tide. You are getting an idea of also water clarity on those now chalk bits of chalk and sandstone cliffs. You can see how it colours the water as we head round to Cookmere Haven. That's where all the children in Sussex go at some point to learn about meandering rivers. And again, as we head eastwards towards Birling Gap, loads of different spots down here. Hell of a walk though. And if you look at this is using Google Earth. It'll do it in grids, so you can change the... You can see here how Google Earth is sort of half displaying parts of the coast. So you can see that reef there. I mean, you can identify different gullies, but if you change the timing, and we'll just rewind a little bit, you can see how you can change the date on that slider bar on the top left hand corner. And there we go. Again, miles and miles. The Seven Sister Cliffs goes on and on. Not the easiest fishing here. I've only been down a couple of times, and actually Birling Gap, which we've got in the distance, is the easiest route down. So we're just going to skim over this, but you can see that Sussex reefs like this do go on and on and on, and there will be almost marks here that have never ever seen a rod and line that may well hold good bass. The usual caveat at Birling Gap, that's it, we're going past there, a bit of a touristy spot. And you just see the lighthouse coming up now at Beachy Head. Same sort of deal, really treacherous. You've got reefs and gullies, and the bass absolutely love this. I've got this far on a walk, and you can get cut off by the tide. You really need to know what you're doing. Featured this on the YouTube video before as well. You can see as we open this up, round Beachy Head. Again, you can't get down from the top of the cliffs here for miles and miles, and it is a heck of a walk, even from Cow Gap on the Eastbourne side as we move inland a little bit off that rock feature there. It's the Ledge, quite a well-known spot. I think we're going to have to change the settings here. Again, just have a play around with that slider, and it should give you what you want. There's one set for high tide. I think this one's going to be good enough. Yeah, so over Cow Gap, I've probably had more bass on this section than any other, simply because I've fished it most. So we're now heading towards Holywell, which is to the west of Eastbourne, sort of southwest. And again, more mixed ground here. You can see the shingle starts about here as we go over Eastbourne Pier. Obviously, there's a few videos on Eastbourne Pier if you're interested in fishing there. And these groins start as well. Groins, groins, groins all the way. Some deep pools there. We've gone past Eastbourne now on those beaches. Langley Point on the top there. Used to be a well-known mark, Langley Point. And over Eastbourne's Sovereign Harbour. Towards Pevensey Bay now. That's the access for Pevensey Bay. And this really is a bay here. And then it basically just sweeps all the way round towards Norman's Bay. And then Couden off in the distance. We see how the terrain has changed quite a bit, hasn't it? We've gone over those rocky marks. You're now on sort of shingle and patches of sand. I mean, this isn't sand as in Cornish sand. It'll just be little patches at low tide. But what you're looking at there is the shingle, little bits of mud, little sort of stretches of sand, normally covered up on bigger tides. And there we go. Racing through now on our way back to Hastings. And as I say, you'll have to indulge me a bit. I've always loved maps and looking for different marks and what have you. So I think where are we now? Bulverhide. Heading towards Hastings. Again, you can get access to these places. Not quite sure what that yellow stripy thing is. We'll just change that, as that is Hastings Pier there. Just change our settings, and if you are going to use Google Earth, do have a play around with the settings. You can make it look a lot better. You can change the details. And then here we are. This is Hastings. We'll get on with some more fishing now. So yeah, do you use Google Earth? I think it's a great tool. Let us know in the comments if it's something you use. Right, I think you want to see some fish now though, so enough's enough. Now looking at a beach the next day. I'm really disappointed by Worthing, really. I don't know quite what I was expecting, but obviously we're fishing in January, which isn't a great time to be fishing. However, I'll come back today to a beach in Hastings, a patch I know well, and just see little taps on that 2-hook flapper there. You see the yellow one? I think we'll have a look, see what we've got. One of the problems we've got today are these, I think they're sole nets out there, if you can pick that up. And those nets run all the way along the beach. So I do have a ready-made excuse. I think we're seeing little taps there, aren't we? Yeah, I'm going to bring it in, have a look. Hey, little flounder. And this one here is a rockling, three-bearded rockling, not quite as desirable. See, the tail's very different to the dab, and that's soft to the touch. Those dabs we were catching were rough, weren't they? Right. Annoying. There was something on. It's a bit annoying. There was something on that other hook that came off halfway. Got a little dab there. I lost something on the decent bait. Oh well, shows there's fish here though. Oh, nice to see a few fish. A little bit disappointed again. That was something quite hefty on there, although it could have just been a dogfish. Right, so we got that out a good distance. This is monofilament line on here. I do prefer the mono when I'm fishing for things like flounder. Just a little bit of bend in the line, move the bait, not quite as tight into the bait and the weight. Get it. Like there's a seal out there. Bloody nets here, seal here. I mean, maybe that means there's fish, but it does make it harder. Just noticed the seagulls all fly up, and I have got half a mind on these whales that we've seen, but I think it's a seal that's got their attention out there. Just about see it between the rods. for such a small little weight on the line there. I hope that's not a rockling. We've got two different types of line here, and I think it does affect how the bite indication goes. You're not going to see it quite so well with that mono, there's a lot of stretch in it, whereas on the other rod we're using braid, and the braid is like a direct line to the fish really. There's not as much slack in the water and there's no stretch in it, so it's sort of does make the bite indication a little bit more interesting. Not necessarily does it hook more fish. There's something on there. Everyone does it differently. You should really let a bite develop, especially with these flatfish. But you don't want to leave it out there forever either, otherwise it swallows the hook right down. Really hard to unhook and release the fish. So we'll have a look, see what's on there. Put that theory to the test. a nice one. Oh, about hooked. Still lovely condition, Dad. That's a lovely condition one. Lovely. Tea sorted. Okay, a little change on this one. This is a wishbone rig. You clip it on, it's got that SRT spring on there, and then all the way down to this end, and I've just put a couple of worms on there. They don't have to be ungutted and fresh. Clips on to the clip there. Some black and green beads, and I've just tipped the hook with a bit of foil. Back on the Dad. Yum.